All right, guys, so all of you should have known that this was coming, that I was going to do a video this week reacting to the media's reaction towards what happened this weekend, the tragic event that happened in Buffalo in which a self-proclaimed white supremacist went to a grocery store and opened fire on people, mainly targeting black folks, okay? And the media has been rampaging all week about this, okay? Specifically going out to Fox News and Tucker Carlson because they're blaming them for what happened this weekend, okay? And obviously that is something that I don't agree with. I don't think it's right to blame one person, specifically Tucker Carlson, for something that the mainstream liberal media has talked about quite a bit, okay? So that being said, the liberal view had the absolute dumbest reactions that I've heard all week to this tragic mass shooting, and that should be no surprise because these women, hands down, are the dumbest women on television, okay? And I'm so serious when I say that because it's at the point where I literally cannot believe that they're getting paid millions of dollars to say things that are just factually incorrect, that are politically ignorant, and that are just, again, downright silly on national TV. And I want to react to, again, some of their sillier takes this week. But before I get into that, I just want to let you guys know, if you like my channel and you want to support my channel, you can do so using the links in the description below. You support the Patreon, you support the PayPal, you support the merch. There are multiple ways to support the channel if you would like to do so. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. And we're going to start off with a clip from earlier this week that is going to show Ana Navarro's initial reaction to the Buffalo mass shooting, in which she calls for more censorship and for advertisers to stop funding channels like Fox News and TV shows like Tucker Carlson. Take a look.
And it's absolutely the same thing replaying itself over and over again in places that are supposed to be safe, in places where we all go. Now we can't go to the supermarket. We can't go to a theater. No. We can't go to a Walmart. We can't go to church. And so listen, I think it's time to name names and point fingers.
Yes. Yeah.
Tucker Carlson mentioned the Great Replacement Theory or some version of that more than 400 times on his show since 2016, according to the New York Times. At least Stefanik bought ads on Facebook. And it's not just them. It's other hosts of Fox News. It's other Republican leaders. And they need to be called out. And listen, if you are an advertiser advertising on that station, you are part of the problem. If you sit on the board and are trying to be a civilized person, Paul Ryan, my friend, I'm talking to you, you are part of the problem. If you're a Republican donor tweeting about how bad you feel about this, but you're donating to people like Elise Stefanik, you are part of the problem. If you are a staffer working for them, you are part of the problem. If you are voting for them, you are part of the problem. So I'll tell you what Great Replacement Theory should be. We should replace all these people peddling hate and making financial and political gain from spreading racism. We should replace them with people who hold up American values. Right.
Yeah, she thought she was doing something, boys. She thought she was making a point, right? She thought she was making a point. But this is a case, guys, of be careful what you ask for, because the political pendulum always swings the other way. And I'm going to pause there for a moment on that. I'm going to get back to that. But first, I want to say this. My main issue with what she's calling for obviously has to do with the fact that she's calling for the demonetization of people on the right who talk about demographic change in this country, okay? And the reason why I'm framing it that way is because what Tucker Carlson is talking about is something that the mainstream liberal media talks about. It's simply just demographic change, right? That is the short end of what replacement theory is at its core, is simply talking about the demographic changes that are allegedly happening in this country, right? So if Ana Navarro wants to cancel people who are talking about demographic change, right? And basically she's using replacement theory and demographic change interchangeably here. That's basically what she's doing, because that is what Tucker Carlson talks about, right? That's what he talked about. If that's the case, then if we're going to start canceling people for talking about demographic change, let's start with the mainstream liberal media.
It seems harder and harder to ignore that the echoes of replacement theory
and other racially motivated views are increasingly coming out into the open.
In a few years, we're going to be a majority brown country. White people will not be the majority in the country anymore.
This will be the first generation ever in American history in which whites will be a minority of the generation at some point.
As of 2007, every year, babies being born in this country, whites now are the minority.
In 2044, everyone is going to be a minority.
As the demographics change, as white people become the minority in the country, which is coming.
Demographics is destiny.
Demographics is destiny.
Demographics is destiny, right? The country is changing. I've been saying it here. Other people have been saying it here for years now, even before Donald Trump. The demographics is destiny.
The white population is declining for the first time in history in America, while the number of multiracial Americans have more than doubled.
So we live in a country where the demographics are changing. It's becoming less white.
Correct.
Okay, you'll be announcing that we're calling the 38 electoral votes of Texas for the Democratic nominee for president. It's changing. It's going to become a purple state and then a blue state because of demographics, because of the population growth.
The growth in Texas has been almost entirely driven by non-white population growth, mostly by Hispanic and Latino population growth.
The idea that whites will not be the majority, I mean, it's an exciting transformation of the country. It's an exciting evolution and progress of our country in many different ways.
The white population is declining. It was always on the upswing. So that speaks to the beautiful diversity of America. It speaks to how that population, the demographics will weigh in politically.
I believe anybody who echoes a replacement is to blame, not for this particular crime, but it's for no purpose, except profit and or political benefit.
Yeah, so CNN, MSNBC, ABC, all these liberal media networks, advertisers should just pull the plug on them, right? Because they talked about demographics change, right? They said the exact same things that Tucker Carlson said on Fox News, right? And then I'm not saying that. Ana Navarro is saying that. Ana Navarro is saying that, right? But again, just like the election, guys, Democrats are allowed to make claims about things that people on the right can't make claims about. Now, all of a sudden, if you're on the right and you simply discuss demographic changes in this country, you are a conspiracy theorist, right? And you're radicalizing people, right? But when the left talks about the exact same things, oh no, it's different. It's different. They can openly and freely talk about the population changes that are happening in this country without being labeled as conspiracy theorists or being accused of radicalizing people. Even though, again, I mean, if you look at the Buffalo Shooters manifesto, he said he hated Fox News. There's absolutely no evidence whatsoever that he was radicalized by Tucker Carlson, right? But if you listen to the mainstream liberal media, that's what you would think. Even though they said the exact same things that they're accusing Tucker Carlson of saying, and there's more evidence to suggest, since the guy seemed to have a whole lot of left authoritarian views, that he probably watched a lot more of the liberal media than he did Tucker Carlson. So again, if I had to guess, if I was just a betting man, I would probably bet that if you're going to make the argument that this guy was radicalized by the things that he heard on TV, I would probably say he most likely was radicalized by things that was said in the mainstream liberal media, like the clip I just played, okay? I'm just saying. So that being said, again, after spending all week, right, talking junk about Tucker Carlson, okay? That's what the View has been doing. That's what all the ladies on the View has been doing. That's what the whole mainstream liberal media has been doing. Joy Behar comes out here today, I believe, or recently, and gives this very silly take about Tucker Carlson claiming that all of a sudden he's irrelevant despite having 3 million viewers. Take a look.
I'd like to give a little history about
Do please.
Okay, back in World War II period, there was a guy named Father Coughlin.
Oh, yes.
And he was an anti-Semite and a racist, and he was a priest from the Catholic Church. He had, in a country of 127 million, he was on the radio, 127 million people in this country, he had 30 to 40 million listeners. Mm-hmm. That's a lot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot.
Especially back
Tucker
then.
Carlson has, in a country of 326 million people, we have grown, he has 3 million listeners. So it's 30 to 40 million versus 3 million. He's almost irrelevant if you think about it. And I think maybe that's the way to go with him. Just ignore him. Every time we talk about him, every time the media gives him airtime, he gets bigger and bigger.
This is so silly. So silly, okay? What Joy Behar is saying here, guys, is that the #1 primetime news television show, Tucker Carlson, is irrelevant, right? I mean, the guy has more viewers than any other news show on TV during prime time, okay? Not only that, he also has more Democratic viewers in the key demographic than any other cable news show during prime time, including topping the left's golden girl, Rachel Maddow, right? I mean, come on now. So I guess that means that Tucker Carlson is irrelevant according to Joy Behar. And if he's so irrelevant, why do you keep talking about him so much, right? Why do you keep his name in your mouth if he's so irrelevant, right? But let's say that Joy Behar is right here, right? Let's give her this argument the same way we do with Ana Navarro. If that's the case, then The View is irrelevant because Tucker Carlson gets about the same, if not slightly more viewers than The View, right? I think Tucker Carlson gets about 2.6 million viewers, right? Versus The View getting about 2.2 million. So again, if your standard is correct here, then The View is irrelevant. All you women on The View are irrelevant, right? So with that being said, this takes us to our last take that I want to react to that I think probably is the silliest out of all these takes, which comes from no other than Miss Sonny Hostin, who claimed that the left has become more moderate, right, and centrist, while the right has become more extreme. Take a look.
They are playing to the base. I mean, if you look at all the studies, the Republican Party has moved further to the right than Democrats have to the left. There's a Pew Research Center analysis that finds that on average, Democrats and Republicans are farther apart ideologically today than at any time in the past 50 years. And that ideological divide breaks down to the Republican Party being an extremist party and the Democratic Party actually, as you just mentioned, Sarah, moving more to the center.
But isn't the problem the primary? Because you can't get through these primaries unless you are extreme.
Talk about either misrepresenting a study or just not being able to read, okay? Because apparently Sonny Hostin, who was a lawyer, I really can't believe that, can't read, right? Because the same study that she's citing here from Pew Research does not say what she just said that it says, right? Actually, what it says is that, yes, our country is becoming more polarized. However, at the same time, the center of the scale has shifted in a somewhat liberal direction over time. To a large extent, this is the result of the public's growing acceptance of homosexuality and more positive views of immigration, shifts that are seen among both Democrats and Republicans. GOP attitudes about immigrants are little change over the last decade, but Republicans are substantially less likely to view immigrants as a burden on the country than they were in the 1990s. Wait, I thought Sonny Hostin said that the Democrat Party has moved to the center. No, that's not what has happened, right? What has actually happened is that, yes, both sides of the aisle have become more polarized, but the Democrats have objectively become more extreme, okay? I mean, we're talking about the party, guys, that the Department of Homeland Security, I'm pretty sure you haven't heard about this, but they literally are worried about threats, active threats from the extremists who are upset about the Supreme Court potentially overturning Roe v. Wade. Take a look.
What really caught our attention here on the investigative team is how this intelligence report from Homeland Security has so much specificity about the threat environment here in the National Capital Region, and that includes the Supreme Court, Congress, as well as the executive branch. And it specifically cites that at least 25 threats on social media have been referred to partner agencies for further investigation, that these threats include a discussion of burning down or storming the Supreme Court, as well as attacks on Congress, as well as lawful demonstrations. And this is really a good template to understand how this online chatter can move from the virtual world to the real world, where it's significant and credible enough that it does demand further scrutiny.
So again, the Democrat Party has embraced the extremists because they've said, hey, it's okay to do this type of stuff, right? It's okay to protest and intimidate the Supreme Court justices at their homes, right? They told us during the Summer of Love, it's okay to use violent means to achieve your political goals, right? But according to Sonny Hostin, the Democrat Party has moved closer to the center, right? No. That's just objectively not true. Maybe, there are some sane supporters of the Democrat Party who aren't actual Democrat politicians, but the Democrat politicians in Congress themselves have objectively embraced the extremism in their party. Republicans, on the other hand, which Republicans are endorsing January 6th, right? Which Republicans have come out here and said what happened on January 6th is okay? I don't think any of them have said that, right? They have not said that, not as openly as Democrats have said, no. Trying to intimidate Supreme Court justices is okay. Jen Psaki, again, the spokesperson for the Biden administration, or the former spokesperson for the Biden administration, said yeah, we're totally okay with that, right? We're totally okay with breaking federal law and protesting outside the home of Supreme Court justices with the intent of trying to get them to change their opinions, right? But even if you look outside of the social stuff, which I think, again, I think most people agree that the Democrat Party has moved more far left socially than the Republicans have moved right socially. Because, again, think about just the issue of gay marriage, okay? I think that, yes, you would say that probably a lot of Republicans, particularly the religious ones, would be opposed to gay marriage. But at the same time, if you ask a lot of people, okay, well, are you cool with a civil union? Which is just the government saying, hey, that two people can come together regardless of their sex to get tax benefits. I feel like a lot of Republicans are like, yeah, I'm fine with that, as long as you don't call it marriage. Which, I mean, again, effectively speaking, I mean, again, if you take the religious aspect of it, I mean, that's marriage, right? Again, I think Republicans have definitely become a lot more open to a lot more social things than they were in the past, okay? But again, if you even look at economics, Democrats have embraced the Bernie Sanders wing of their party, right? I mean, they're actively trying to push trillions of dollars of spending, right? Even despite inflation, they're still trying to push it, right? If they could have it their way, they would have spent a Bernie Sanders amount of money. We talk about 3.5 to maybe 5, 6, 7 trillion dollars last year in more stimulus, right? And Biden's Build Back Better agenda, if they could have it their way. So again, let's not sit here and act like, Republicans have just moved so far right. Okay, the Democrats have moved closer to the center. That's just a lie, right? It's a bald-faced, uninformed, politically ignorant lie. So again, these takes from The View, man, I don't understand how in the world we live in a country where you have these politically ignorant women getting paid millions of dollars to say things that are just objectively not true, right? And again, are politically ignorant, right? Why are you talking about politics when you don't even know the basics of politics? You don't know the basics of anything, right? But again, hey, these are the same people that claims this country is sexist and systemically racist, but yet they're allowed to go on TV and not know what the hell they're talking about and get paid a king's ransom for it, right? Those are truly the privileged people in our society. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.